We have reached the time of year. It's always the time of year for second segment sips, by the way. I just chose not to include it today. Don't worry. But we've reached the time of year where I am not keen on recording shows before, I don't know, 10 p.m. or so local time. I'm in the Mountain Time Zone, which is a great, great time zone, by the way. I love Pacific. Mountain is growing on me. Central and Eastern, get out of here. Oh, oof, no. No. Eastern especially. 8:20 Sunday Night Football. Gosh, that's just a nightmare. So Oregon goes out and adds Malik Benson. And this was not the last move that Oregon made yesterday because they added Bryce Betcher, and that news dropped about 9:30 p.m. my time, hence the point that I was just making there. But Malik Benson and Mekhi Hughes, those are the two newest Ducks that are going to be contributors, and we'll talk about Bryce Betcher later on today's show. But Benson feels like a guy that has finally made his way to Oregon and was kind of always bound to. So in 2023, he emerged from the JUCO ranks, and he was one of the top JUCO players in the country. Goes to Alabama. He ends the season with 13 catches for 162 yards and a touchdown. He transfers in the offseason to Florida State, seeking greener pastures. And I don't know if you watched or just followed any Florida State football this year. Not only were they worse than their 2-10 record indicated, their only wins were Charleston Southern and Cal, by the way. They had one of the worst passing offenses I have ever seen. It was ugly. I mean, ugly. The whole year. He ended the season with 25 catches, 311 yards, and 1 touchdown. He has never, in his Division I playing career, had a 100-yard game. So, the numbers with Malik Benson are not as impressive as his physical traits because he's 6'1", 195 pounds. He's from Lansing, Kansas originally. He played 2 years at Hutchinson Community College, which is a really good JUCO. There have been a lot of Division I players to come out of there. I come across them all the time in my play-by-play ventures. That is a very well-known community college for a couple of different sports, football among them. But he spent 2 years there, and he was an all-NJCAA American. That's pretty darn good. He was an All-American at the JUCO level. He was the number 1 JUCO wideout coming out of those ranks back in the 2023 cycle. So he is most likely, for now, heading to his final year of eligibility over to Eugene. I say for now because this will be his 3rd year playing Division I football. He played 2 years of the JUCO ranks. Well, if we get to a point, which we haven't yet, but possibly could get to, if we reach a point where JUCO doesn't count at all, he could have another season left. But we'll just wait and see. We know Oregon's going to have him for 2025. Now, Oregon recruited him back in 2023. There were a lot of big-time schools going after him. Georgia was after him. Bama ended up getting him. LSU wanted him. And Oregon was in the mix as well. And when I look at Malik Benson, on the one hand, I see the potential for Evan Stewart. And Stewart, his best season was 2022, where he had more receptions and yards, actually, than what he had for Oregon this year. And Evan Stewart is, of course, returning, which is huge news for the Ducks wide receiver room. And adding Benson, I think, kind of solidifies what the rotation of guys is going to be. But I don't know that Benson is automatically slotted into being one of those top-end guys. He certainly could be. 6'1", 195 pounds. He's a good athlete. He can run after the catch. He's a big-bodied receiver. He has got really good hands. He can make contested catches. There are a lot of things to like about him. But on the one hand, I see the Evan Stewart with the untapped potential, the physical traits. Like, I get that angle of it. The other angle of it that I can't get out of my head is a Cam Alexander or a Sione Laulea or a George Silva. So Alexander came over to Oregon and was a 4-star transfer, was an all-conference performer at UTSA, did not see the field in a meaningful way for the Ducks this year. Sione Laulea was the number one JUCO corner in the last cycle. Did not see the field in a meaningful way for Oregon. George Silva, 2 cycles ago, was the top offensive tackle from the JUCO ranks. Has not played. He has seen the field before, but he never worked his way up the depth chart to become a starter. Now he's on the 2 deep. If there had been an injury, Silva might have been the guy to slide in and, play for Josh Connolly or a Johnny Cornelius. Josh Connolly, by the way, has not yet declared for the NFL draft. I imagine an announcement will be coming in the next couple of days on that. That's just my guess. But when I look at Malik Benson and what's in this Oregon wide receiver room, I can absolutely see a world where he's just a guy. I could see him being one of the starting wide receivers outside. Because Oregon, if they liked him 2 cycles ago and we're still in contact with it, they clearly see something about him that they like. And I think when it comes to talent acquisition, we've learned that this staff tends to have earned our trust. But at the same time, not every transfer they have brought in goes on to be a high-impact starter. They brought in Connor Soley 2 cycles ago. He was a special teams guy, which is kind of what he was at Arizona State. There's nothing wrong with bringing in guys like that. There's nothing wrong with adding depth. But when I see Benson coming over, he's got more experience than a Kyler Casper per se. But Casper, before he got injured this year, looked like he was starting to work a role into the offense at the very least as a goal line specialist. And Malik Benson, big-bodied receiver. Casper is taller. I think Benson's a little bit thicker. Benson's got more experience. So I can certainly see Benson being one of Oregon's starting wide receivers. I just won't be surprised if other guys are able to pass him on the depth chart, because the profile that he brings on paper looks really good, and it didn't work out at Florida State, mostly because Florida State was a disaster area. But the season before at Alabama, when Oregon wanted him, well, he wasn't able to carve out a big role there either. And Bama had a bunch of talented receivers in that 2023 season. Guys like Isaiah Bond, who are now at Texas. And I forget the other guy's name, who I'm thinking of. But he was number 7. Wasn't the biggest guy in the world. I don't remember. But he wasn't able to beat those guys out. So I think this is someone who's obviously brought into Oregon's wide receiver room to compete and to play. But I'm not sharping him in as a starter and high-level contributor and producer for 2025 the way I am Mekhi Hughes. I have 0 doubts. I can see 0 situations, non-injury related, where Mekhi Hughes just doesn't play for Oregon and gets beat out by guys on the roster. I don't see that. But with Benson, I think it can go either way. I'm down for having someone who's played 4 years of college football, whose body is obviously physically ready, and he's shown some glimpses of the potential and, is a downfield kind of threat. But is he so special, so dynamic that, oh, man, you have to play this guy. He's going to be the number 1 receiver. No, I don't see that. I think it's another name in the room, but I could see him getting beat out. I understand, though, why they go out there and make this move.